take 2 of these Dollar Tree pink trees. What other type of little wood hearts or paper hearts you have, a card or a printout that is Victorian inspired. And then of course there's a variety of beads and pearls and stickers that you can get from Dollar Tree, just to give you some options of things that I think would work for vintage Victorian inspired. And then these beautiful bundles of flowers, and these were thrifted. I got 2 bundles of these, and they match perfectly, I think, with this card. So just make sure it's coordinating. I thrifted these beautiful ribbons. Alright, so we're going to take these out of the box. All you're going to need is the 2 trees. You're going to spread those branches apart and out so that they're flat on one side. And pretty much you can make them flat on both sides. Just spread them all out to these sides. We're going to be using these branches of the trees to connect our pieces down to the swag. Now this is not the same type of swag as we did in a previous Valentine's video, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to make a long, almost like a teardrop shaped swag, but it's going to be long. It's going to be like, I think it ends up being like 23 inches maybe. You're just going to overlap them and then use your zip ties to go through the bottom. I like to make sure that they go around sections that have branches because it kind of keeps them from slipping back and forth. It kind of locks them in place. So I'm just going to use 2 to hold it together. 1 on each end to hold both of those middle sections together. And you clip off your extra, and then again with the fluffing out on the sides so that we have plenty on each side to hang onto whatever type of ribbons and greenery we want to put down on this. And there will be a lot on it. So whatever type of greenery you like, you can use. I have some, I think this is eucalyptus. It's faux eucalyptus and a little bit of ferns. My ferns, you ended up not even seeing those because they're flat. They don't have any dimension. They would have been better as flyaways. So you could actually skip this part if you don't want to do it. But you can see here how I'm connecting them down to the base. You just grab one branch and twist it around. That's all you have to do. And you're going to go all the way up and down this way. We want it to look kind of wider at the top and more tapered at the bottom. So you'll see as I'm going through the process exactly how I do that. I'm going to take 2 of the little picks and put up top, kind of pointing upward and out to the side a little bit. And it's going to extend past the pink of the tree underneath. That's okay. I kind of like the idea. It makes it look a little wider. It makes it look like you spend a little more time and money when you were making it. Even though we don't, because you know I use my thrifted things. And I recycle. I have used these picks in so many different things. And I just pull them out when I'm done, and I just use them again. I love it. You can really, really, really save your money when you can use the same things in your projects over and over again. So for me, yeah, budget is always something to consider. Always. I don't care how much money you have. I really think that sticking to a budget teaches you a lot of things, and self-control and such. So yeah, I guess you learn those types of lessons with crafting too, don't you? Okay, so it is going to look messy, and if you've ever watched any of my videos before, especially when it has to do with florals and wreaths, I always say that, you know, it's going to look worse before it looks better, so just don't stop, because I actually almost stopped once I got this base layer down and, you know, thought this is not going to work. I'm losing my vision here. But then it worked out. It worked out perfectly, and I'm okay. I'm okay now with it. I really like the way that it turned out. It was a big surprise, but you'll see that. I always like to show my final pieces in the end, so you will see that. Okay, so now that we've got all the greenery down, we're going to start adding these florals. And these particular picks are wrapped with like a papery type stuff, and they're in sections. So there's actually like 6 sections, but they're in 2s. You can see here. then I just pull it down and we can separate those bundles into smaller bunches. You can trim down the wires and then you can just kind of twist up the ends so that they stay together, or you can use some floral wire to twist them together. Whichever way you prefer to do that is okay. This was very easy to do. I love the wild look of these flowers. They just look like wildflowers to me, and they just look like, I don't know, I don't see a lot of huge florals in the Victorian things that I've seen. I see, you know, roses and things like that, but for the most part what you see is sprays of kind of what maybe you would see in a wildflower field, you know, something like that. It's kind of a variety and they're kind of small, and I just really just took the inspiration from the card for how this would be, for how it would lay out, and what would look like it would go together. I hope that makes sense. And then, you know, a lot of it too with crafting is you just kind of go with your gut. You just kind of add here and there, and if you don't like it when you look at it, take it off, start again, right? That's all you got to do. So again, for this to be a teardrops kind of shaped swag, I like to make most of my flowers point downward. And then up toward the top, I like some of them to be facing up and outward, just like we did with the greenery. And all you have to do once you get enough down there is just kind of thread your little wires and your stems right down into what's already wrapped up underneath. It'll become kind of like a mat. It's kind of woven down there because you got so many wraps that everything locks into place and it just stays there really, really well. And then, I want my flowers to be laying flat. I want them to kind of be out a little bit, and I want to pull some of the greenery that is under the flowers up and through there so that you get a little representation of all the greenery that you put under there. And you can see a little of the ferns sticking out on the sides, so maybe if you do the ferns, keep them closer to the outside or use them as flyaways. So here is my homemade bow making tool. I do have a video on that if you are interested. It is very helpful with certain types of bows. So I'm just going to put this down, and I'm going to have, I think, about 12 inches of tails, probably longer than that, but I do trim them down. And then I'm going to have 6-inch loops on each side. And then when you have this ribbon, you can actually see the print on both sides, but one side looks faded and the other side is very crisp. So I'm just making sure that in the center I give it a little twist so that I keep the pretty part of the bow on the outside. Just like that. And I'm just laying that loop right on top of the other one to make sure that it is the same size. There are lots of ways to make bows, and you could make it smaller and smaller toward the center, but for this bow I just wanted to go ahead and do it like this and put 6 loops on the left and 6 on the right. There are people who like or prefer to have odd numbers, and that's probably the best way to do it, because I know in floral design odd numbers seem to be the way to go. But you know me, I have to have the same amount on each side. For some reason in my brain that makes me happy. So that's how I'm going to do mine. But you can do yours any way you like. And if you don't like this bow, use whatever type of bow you know how to make already. And that'll be fine too. But a simple bow like this I think would be good for the style that I'm going for. So I'm going to use a pipe cleaner and twist around the center of the bow. And then you can just start pulling the loops out. Put your hand in the middle and push those wires out, because this is wired bow. This will not give you the same effect if you use a floppy ribbon that doesn't have any wire in it. And just kind of fluff it out. And then I'll turn that one inside out because I didn't flip it in the right direction. Got to get those bows fluffed. Then I'm going to feed my chenille stem or my pipe cleaner right through there, making sure that it wraps around that center pole part of the tree. And yes, it's a struggle. I'm struggling here. But I do finally get it through there. And I'm going to pull both sides to the back. And then I will twist it around to hold it in place. I'll be trimming that up later. Now I'm just going to make sure that before I make it really tight, that I have the bow where I want it on the swag. Now it is up in the top, probably 1/3 of this. I like that position for this. I think it's going to give me room to put the card there too, so it'll work. And then I'm going to dovetail my ends. I do cut these down a little bit to make them a little bit shorter. And I'm going to make a couple of these little things that we'll be using in a little while. They're just going to be some false tails. Just going to fold it over in half and then dovetail it. Then I have a couple of little sections, and I think I made 3 of these, and just put those aside. Now we're going to work on the card. So I'm turning the card inside out and kind of pinching and pushing and weakening that bond in the middle, and then I can just tear it off or cut it off of the back piece and then trim it up on top so it looks nice and neat. If you like a frayed look though, you could certainly leave it. And there's a beautiful card up close with the little cherub and the little couple in the back. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard that I have trimmed down a little bit. I'm going to add some school glue, some Elmer's glue, and put this down on here and press it down with my hands, and then take the little squeegee and make sure that it is nice and flat and every piece of that card is sticking to that board behind it. And then I'll just trim that off. This is just going to give it a little stronger of a base, and it will give us something to attach another pipe cleaner to so we can put it down. Now I'm just using a little bit of this, it's like an alcohol ink or something. Don't usually use it, but I have a few times, and a tiny sponge brush just to go all around my edges of this card to give it a little bit of an aged look. I'm going to let it dry because it does take a little while. Then I'm going to take some of these little pearl beads and very carefully, with my magnifying glasses on, I'm going to put a couple of these little pearls here and there, and I'm putting in the center of the wheels and on the little card that the bird is holding up top. And then these beautiful Dollar Tree flower stickers, I'm going to put one over each of the hearts, and I guess where the headlights would be, if this was a car maybe. And press that down. I love that it's got the gold on it around the edges. It's really pretty. And then I'll add right to the center another one of those little pearl beads. It's just a little dimension, it's just a little something extra, and with Victorian, I think that that does make a difference in your projects. So I've got some of this old trim. I don't know how old it is. To me it looks like it's from the 80s, but who knows. And I'm going to, look how pretty. It's like a lace with a gold in it. I'm going to put this on the back of the card to sort of frame it out. Gives it a little something extra. Makes it look a little richer, a little fancier, and I think that it will draw a little more attention to it once we put it on this wreath, because it's going to be beneath that floral ribbon that really is an eye catcher. But I still want the card to get some attention, because that's the whole point in here. And in this video you're going to be seeing, I guess, probably 3 different color schemes for the Victorian inspired look, and you can just decide which one you like best. If you do like the pastels and the pinks, this may be the one for you. I love that it has those pretty pinks and blues together, and the wildflowers, of course. Go all the way around the card and then trim it off where you overlap it, so that you don't see a you don't want to be seeing a gap there. And then there's the little frame around it. I know, has that grainy chic look, I guess. Put a little hot glue on the back, and then we're going to put a little piece of cardboard or a little paper, cardstock on the top of it. Let it cool, and then you know that the glue has set up, and then we're just going to feed that through there just like we did with the bow till we get to the back. And then do not pull it all the way down to tighten it. Just pull it enough that it's sort of floating on the bow. I am reusing these beautiful hearts that I used last year in a Valentine's Day project. As you can see, all the paper on the back. And I'm going to put some floral picks on the back so that we can put these down in here without them just falling into the frame. I don't want it falling into it and disappearing. I want it to kind of stand out toward the front. So I'll find my placement, and then I can add some hot glue and keep them in place. It's important when you have something that's got a little weight to it or heavy, that you hold it in place until the glue sets up, or when you let go, it's going to fall down and it will dry exactly that way. Okay, so now I'm going to take another little piece of floral pick, and this just happens to be colored white, and some floral wire, and I'm going to wrap it around the center of those little tails that we made earlier that I told you we would need, like, I think 3 of them, depending on how many you want. Then I'm going to add some hot glue and just push these up into the bottom. And I am looking for a tight spot in there. If you see me moving it around a few times, I'm looking for a spot where it will really lock it in and hold it in place. I decided to trim these up more. This is where I do this because I want it to, the appearance of it to be, it's kind of rounded out on the bottom, right? But still giving it that teardrop shape. I hope that makes sense to you. It does in my head, but sometimes when it comes out my lips, it just does not sound the same. All right, so now I've got those little tails there, and you can do some in the top if you would like. And then finish adding in whatever hearts you have. Now, I only had 4 hearts. I did not have 5, so I had to use the even number. And I'm just going to put a couple of bends in my ribbon. You don't have to necessarily leave them straight down. You can bend them, you can curl them, you can twist them. Whatever it is that you like to do to make it perfect for you. Now we're going to make a hanger. So this exposed end up here, which is the top, I'm just folding over about 8 inches of that ribbon, and I'm going to glue it down. I'm going to start in the front and glue it into the center, and then I will flip it over and wrap the sides toward the center. And now I just put those 2 layers together so they wouldn't move around, and then do it over here on the back side. And of course, while I'm on the back side, this would be a great time for me to cut off the extras on the back so that it looks nice and neat. I'm going to take another tail without adding it to a pick and just glue it straight to the back of the card. And that really fills out the bottom of this swag and gives it a little something extra that I think makes it just really pretty and stand out. I hope you like this one. I really do like it. We're going to take these keys and hearts from the Dollar Tree and some of this beautiful Victorian paper that I've had quite some time. I think I have 2 more sheets left. It's tissue paper. A heart from the Dollar Tree. And some white paint and a sponge brush. I'm going to take the tag and the hanger off. I'm going to add some of this paint all over here. Now the reason I'm painting it is because the lighter the color underneath, the more the items will stand out on your paper. It'll really see the difference in the brightness between the side that's on the table and the side that's on the white. That's the look that I like. I really want it to be bright and pop against the white that's in the background. And you will not be able to see that white, so that you don't have to do a perfect paint job, and you can certainly use chalk paint for that if you would like. You could even spray paint it. So I'm going to trim up a square, enough to work with, make it a little more manageable, and then I'm going to take my glue stick and rub it all over the heart. The reason the purple is disappearing so quickly is because I used my little heat tool to dry my paint. So it's sort of warm, and it makes the glue dry kind of quickly. And it looks like it wouldn't dry at all at this point, but it does. It still has some tack, and it does hold on to this tissue paper with no problem whatsoever. And I love that there's no bubbling. The paper is not wet, so it's not tearing. It's not hard to manage. I'm going to go from sort of the center outward to make sure if there are any wrinkles or lumps or bumps, we can get them out. And then using my emery board from Dollar Tree, I'm just going to file off all of this extra. Very easy to do. You can cut this with scissors if you don't have an emery board, a sanding block, or some sanding paper. Some people I've seen really like those finger sanders, so that would work too. I'm going to take some brushed gold paint, and I am going to sort of put it on this little stencil brush and then go up and down all over several of these different hearts. Now there are several different styles, so I'm just painting one of each style till I can decide which one I want. And I'll also paint the keys. I'm going to go over with that same brush. I didn't add any more paint to it, and I'm going to go all over the edges, and then on the probably like the last quarter inch from the outside inward, just to age it a little bit. I have some red cord. You could use red jute or a piece of thin red ribbon, some lace here if you wanted to do that. I'm going to flip it over on the back and glue it down. And I'll put the glue on there, and then we'll use the little pieces of paper to kind of lock it into place. You could trim off the excess. Then I want this to look like it is hanging from the cord without actually having them hang from the cord. Now, from a distance, you cannot really, it's hard to see this gold. It really does not pop whatsoever. So you may choose to do pastel colors, you may do silver, you might want to do white here, depending on the busyness of your paper in the background, because you just really cannot see this unless you were up close. I'm just adding it right to the tippy tops to have it glue down to the cord. I'm not trying to glue it to the heart in the back, just a little bit so it sticks down to the board, and it still kind of has that freedom of movement. It moves around a little bit, and I like that. So now I have some more of these flowers, and I want to add these for a little more dimension, but you certainly don't have to. I'm going to put this really, really pretty flower on the bottom. It is a cream color with gold. My finger is gold. You can see my hands have paint all over them. And then I just added two here and there. And there's the one on the bottom. And I took that same dry brush with the gold and went over those to kind of dull them down a little bit. Now I'm going to just glue these back on rather than poke them through a hole in the front. I'm just going to glue it on the back. But you can certainly go back through the original holes if you would like to. Then you can go ahead and color that back white. There's how it looks. Also known as a tussy mussy. So you're seeing a bunch of vintage cording and lace and trim that I got from the thrift store. There's a little cone here, some pitberry, a wooden heart that I painted gold, and an extra one of those gold hearts, and this beautiful piece of fabric that I got from Goodwill. Gorgeous, gorgeous, and I really thought Victorian when I saw it. I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and wrap around our cone because the end of that cone is blunt. I'm just going to use paper to go right over the top. The cone on the inside is necessary because we're going to put our florals into it. So there is method to my madness. I'm going to use a little bit of clear tape here and just tape this off, but of course you can use any type of tape that you have, or you can hot glue it if you got the patience for it. Then I'm going to cut down the top a little bit. With my scissors, I'm going to leave about a ½ inch from the top of the foam. It's going to give us a little edge to wrap our fabric around shortly. So you see how it looks so far. I'm going to grab my hot glue and go to the corner of my fabric and just kind of roll and pull to make sure that I'm going to have good coverage. And then when I know it's all the fabric I'm going to need to cover the white, I'll just go ahead and trim it off. I should have used bigger scissors for that, right? But my short ones were what I had in reach, so I grabbed them. So I'm adding some more glue here and just going to roll inward. Just roll and push down, get that cone in straight. Then you can trim off so you have enough still on there for you to fold over and make a nice finished edge over your paper. You can fold that inward and then glue it down to the paper on the inside. And that's really easy to do. You just add a little bead of hot glue and fold it in and tuck it against the wall. You don't want to have your fabric going all across the foam, because if you do that, you won't be able to push your flower stems through there. And we have to be able to use that foam for the floral arrangement we're putting in there. So you're going to go all the way around till you have a nice edge. Then we're going to fill out our edge with a little bit of trim, and I'm going to double up the trim, kind of measuring off how much I'm going to need and then trimming it down. Then I'm going to use some hot glue, and I'm not going to go all the way to the top edge, but pretty close, maybe 1/8 of an inch away from the top. That's just the way I did it, but feel free to do it any way that you would like. I know that the Crafter Square in the Dollar Tree has lots of beautiful ribbon now, and yarn and all kinds of stuff, so you just use what you have on hand. You could cut a doily for this if you wanted to, like if you had an old stained doily, or you could cut one of those white paper doilies that you can get at Dollar Tree, and you could use something like that. And you don't have to use fabric, you can use paper. I actually have done a tussy mussy before. I did it last year. You've probably seen it in one of my compilation videos, but I'll try to link that, and that way you can see how to do it with paper. I'm just going to take the other piece and go right over the top all the way to the edge with this really pretty, it's sort of a beigey, mauvey, taupey kind of color. Taupey, I don't know if that's a word. I'm going to take some of the gold cord and just put it on the back side, and I'm determining the back side by where I have the seam of my fabric in the back. And I'm just going to use clamps to hold that in place for a minute till it dries. Then you'll see me pull it off, but it actually is a minute or two before I pull it off, because I don't want it to fall off. I don't want to glue it to my table. And so this is our hanger. You would hang a tussy mussy off of a door or the wall or someplace like that. I have some of these, I don't know what that is, like a wood chip. Then I have some thrifted ferns, and I have those beautiful pink pieces from the Dollar Tree. Those are gorgeous, and I need more because they're really pretty. I'm going to take these fern picks, get whatever greenery you like. Like I said before, I think fern and a smaller scale greenery looks better with Victorian. If you look at the pictures and their cards and things like that, you see a lot of ivy and fern, stuff like that. Just do your research. You know, I don't know everything, and I'm certainly not somebody who is a I'm not well versed in Victorian. I just go by my own research. You know, I just do my own thing here. So if you don't like it, or if it's not what you think is appropriate, then you can certainly change up and do it however you like. I'm going to add the bigger florals next. And I think one of them is a rose, and I'm not sure what these other two are, but they look really pretty in here together, I think. That cream color, really nice. And then I'm going to add in the picks that I cut apart into smaller sections, because we don't want anything being crazy looking. Trying to keep this little bouquet or this little cone nice and tight. So I'm putting the florals close together in sort of a mound or a rounded shape. I'm going to go closer to the edge of the cone. You can bend your wires to do that so they stay in place. And then, you know, a little bit higher toward the top, and fill that out. This really is a really pretty bouquet also. Isn't that pretty? Maybe even a bridesmaid could carry something like that, depending on your style. That's really pretty. And if you notice, I just set it down in a jar so that I could work from the top, and you could see what I'm doing from the top. I can't give you all angles because I only have one camera, but I can certainly show you above and then give you frequent looks of how it's going. I think most people agree that that was satisfactory. So I'm just taking some of the gold pitberry, just because I wanted to add some more gold to it, a little bit of richness. And I'm just going to stick those in there. I'm not even giving them a good twist. I'm just kind of letting them be wild, kind of turn them to the side, a little bead here and there. And then to work on the charm, we're going to put the smaller heart right on top of the larger heart. Just going to glue it down. I'm going to take some of this cord, and I think I end up with about 9 inches of the cord that I'm using, because you can't really see what I'm doing here. I apologize. Remember what I told y'all about getting in the groove. Then I'm going to put a piece right at the top of the key. Then I'm going to flip it over and glue the key sort of dangling down from the center bottom of the heart. And then I actually also glued the top section into a loop, so it will hang down like this freely. Gorgeous. You take a piece of wire or floral wire or one of those floral styrofoam pins, and then just pin it down in there so it hangs. You could always tack it down with a little glue if you prefer to do it that way, but I like the idea of a little movement. It really catches the eye, I think. And I think it turned out nicely. Surely with the 3 projects that we have done, one of these would be something that you would like to have in your. Okay, for the next project, we're going to do a little shabby chic or Victorian inspired piece. I've got some of these cards that I thrifted, and I love these. These are all kind of a Victorian Valentine's Day cards. They came in a little set, and I'm just looking here. I want you to be able to see them because they're so precious. And then just choosing the ones that I want to use for this project. I've also got some thrifted pieces here. Metal hearts, and then I have this little plastic key that's got some little baubles hanging off. This is my vintage Victorian like ribbon. Love this stuff. And then an envelope that's metal, and mine came from the thrift store, but it looks like it came from Dollar General, and then you can get these at Dollar Tree sometimes. I'm going to use my satin spray paint to just give it like an off-white color, and then the metal pieces are going to get a little dabble of this gold paint. And this is just to kind of give it some age and also to match a little bit better with our decor. Now I'm going to use some of my white wax. I've had a lot of good luck with these. I've had a lot of beautiful projects come from this, and I'm just going to show you what you can do if you want to tone down the brassy look of a gold. You can use this white wax. Just give it a good coat. I used a stiff brush to put it on so I could get in all those little cracks around the little flower patterns and the letters. And then I'm just using a clean rag and wiping it all back down. Now it gives it just the slightest amount of dullness, which I like. And you can see the before and after. So you can choose whichever look you like best. Now I'm going to take this little key and I'm going to do the same thing here. I do end up removing the little ornaments that are on there. I kept the heart and the bow, and I saved the cat for something else. But I'm just putting this on with a brush because you have to get in those little tiny spots. So I got a different brush that's a little softer to get in all those cracks. And then I'm going to take a clean stiff brush and use it to wipe all of the wax off. Well, all the extra wax off, I'll put it that way, on this one. And then it gives it an aged look, and it coordinates nicely with the heart. The large heart that we did. And I will be using those little pieces, but I did take them off, but I'll be using those in this project. Okay, so these are just little heart, I guess you could put them on a tree. I'm going to cut the little hangers off because we're going to make pics. Here is my dried envelope. Doesn't matter what the inside looks like because you're not going to see that in the project. I'm going to take some foam blocks, and I just like to use my metal ruler to just slice those into the size I need them. I'm going to place those down in there and then break that other half into 2 pieces and shove it down in the sides. Now we have plenty to hold it down. You could always take some hot glue if you want to hold those in place. I'm going to take a variety of flowers. Now I've chosen these 3 cards, and I'm looking at the flowers that are in these cards so that I can get the same colors and shapes in my floral arrangement. And I've got some little thrifted rosebuds that are just precious, but they don't have stems. Not a problem. I've got these little picks that I thrifted, and I'm going to make some stems. So I'm just first going to put a little hot glue. Be sure that you're protecting your hands here. Just a little hot glue like that. Let it dry. Then I'm going to take my wax floral tape, go up to the top. When you pull it, it activates the wax and will make it sticky. And then keep a little tension as you twist going down, and it will stick down. A lot of people don't understand the tape. They don't like it, but they're not using it correctly. So I'm pulling on it slightly as I'm twisting, and that's what's going to make it stay in place. Perfect. Now we have a long stem. I've got some of these beautiful fern pieces. They're thrifted, of course. And I'm just going to start putting these in. This is not going to be a symmetrical arrangement. This is going to be asymmetrical. It is going to be kind of a, oh, I don't know. I'm not going to call it a mess. It's just going to be more free-spirited, if you will, because Victorian arrangements don't really have like a really specific, you have to do the same thing on the right and left kind of pattern, you know, like we do in a lot of our arranging. So this is going to be a little bit wilder, and I love that. And I'm just going to start placing down my roses. They're my biggest flowers, are the ones that are the largest. And then I'm going to take my little daisy picks and some more of my little roses and just stick those in there. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this. There's really not a lot of balance in here so far, and that may drive some people crazy. You can just do it however you like. However you like it. But if you look at the little cards, looking at my little cards there, it's almost like somebody picked flowers and just laid them down. They are not in any particular pattern. We're going to do the same thing here. Even if you have a stem and you want to elongate it, just add your pick to it, add your hot glue, and then put the wax on there. Little wax tape. Now I'm going to add some of this beautiful blue. I've had these blue picks for a while, and this is perfect because they match almost identically to what's in one of the cards. I want to embellish the envelope with a card, and this is the one that I chose because it's heart shape. So I'm going to just glue it together. You can use a glue stick or tape, or you could just tear the back off if you want. And I'm going to use little poppets. You can get things that are similar to this at Dollar Tree. They're just little foam. They raise up your projects pretty much. They're sticky on both sides. And I'm going to use this because the front of the envelope is at a slant. So I'll be gluing the top part, and then the little riser at the bottom will help it stand out so it won't lay flush down. Now I'm going to make picks with these little hearts, and I'm just going to add some hot glue, the little pick on the back, simple. I don't have to use any tape on those. They stick nicely. Now to make these cards into picks, this is so simple. Start by putting your pick down in there as long as you need it to be. And remember, you can always cut those off. Add a little glue and then press it down. And now you have a beautiful little pick. So easy. Same with this one, only this card flips over from the top instead of from the side. Not a problem. And again, you could just use one piece, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to use the whole card because it's thicker, it looks more substantial. Now I'm taking my little cherub here and putting a little glue on her, or him, whichever one. And I'm going to start placing the cards down. The rest of the arrangement of the flowers will be around these cards because I don't want to cover them up. I want them to be center stage. So I'll be looking at it and seeing what needs a little bit more and adding to it as I go. Now I want to add this back on. I didn't put wax on the back, so it should be fine. We're going to wire it, and I just made a little hook and threaded it through the flower. I'm going to kind of twist it together a little bit to make one piece and then feed it through the top where this hole is. If there's no hole in yours, you don't have to worry about this. You can just glue it down there. And I am going to help give it a little bit of balance by twisting this into a circle. It's going to help kind of hold it straight, and it looks neater. A little hot glue will keep it from slipping around and slipping through, and then I've just put a little piece of extra fabric right over the top of that to hold it down and to keep my glue from sticking anywhere. Alright, so now I'm just looking around to see what I have, pulling some things out and forward, and I realize I need something on a smaller scale. So these beautiful little blue flowers are perfect. I'm gonna stick those all over the place. I think the reason I like the Victorian type flower arranging is because it's so wild looking, and it's really like the rustic that I love. I know it sounds strange because definitely Victorian is not rustic, but there's something shabby chic about it that just really fits into the aesthetic that I like in my home. So I do have a special place in my heart for it, and that's why I like to focus Valentine's Day, you know, for a little bit more of this wild kind of stuff. I'm adding in the heart picks now, here and there. And then you could also, if you don't have cards, I got out those little paper hearts over there. You can use stuff like that, or you can use modern, you know, little Valentine cards, whatever you have for whatever style that you want. And if you don't want to do Victorian, you certainly don't have to. You can use any flowers. So from the keychain, or the little key, I had the heart, and I put the heart right on the top of that one card. I'm going to replace my hook, and you see it's gold now, and it was like a silver color before. And just using these little jewelry pieces, clamps, I'm just going to, I think the word is pliers. I'm going to put them back down. I used the bow on the little cherub's head, so now she's a girl for sure. And then I'm going to use some of this beautiful lace to put right down over the edge of this metal. I felt like it needed to be softened a bit, and I wanted the opportunity to use this without making a bow. And this is the perfect way to do it. I'm just embellishing around the opening of the envelope. What do you think? This was a very fun project for me. I love it very, very much. Also, I might add that this one is quite a bit smaller. If you look at the picture, it shows theirs hanging behind a chair, and it's probably twice this size. But for the same type of look on a smaller scale, and again, I didn't have to pay anything for mine. I already had this stuff at home. I think this is a really good option. I'm going to use my little cutting tool here. This came from Dollar Tree. It comes in a 3-pack. I love these things. I use them all the time. It's like a little razor, and you just push when you need another length to come out and cut it, and then it retracts back into the thing. I drew my little marks here, and then I'm making lines. I kind of clip into the edge so I know exactly where to cut it on the other side. I'm firmly pressing down on the sides and then on the front and the back, and I'm just going to gently rock back and forth and apply some pressure until the handle pops off. Just like that. Same thing with this one. That one was even easier. I'm going to take this is part of a sanding tool. It's just a sanding paper, and I'm going to just go back and forth and just slightly rock the edges on this stick. That's going to give it just a little bit of a curve, and it'll be nice and smooth so there's no splinters, and it'll give you a nice finished look. Not bad, right? Same thing with this one. This is very easy to do. You could use your sanding block if you have one of those from Dollar Tree. Alright, so once you get that the way it needs to look, we're going to go on to coloring it. You can paint yours, you can leave them natural, you can do what you want, but I like to use my antiquing wax and a damp baby wipe. I'm just going to lay that color on the stick and rub it in, and be sure that you get your ends. It's not necessary to color the back, and on the bottoms and the sides so that it's nice and finished, because like I said, the idea is to achieve a high-end look and not have to spend a lot of money doing it. And making sure that you get all your little details covered here is going to give you that nice look that you want. People will come in your house and not know if you bought it or if you made it. Okay, so once they are dry, because you don't want any of that stain to transfer over onto your pretty white paper, just checking here to make sure that I have it exactly how long I want it and where I'm going to place it down. And then for me, it's easier just to go ahead and put the glue on the stick and then turn the paper over and put it down. I feel like I can get my measurements more exact this way. I can see exactly where I'm putting it, and it will be perfectly straight. I'm going to do the same process with the other end. Just putting some glue down. Make sure you don't get too close to your edge, because you don't want that glue to pop out onto the front of your sign. I'm just pressing it down to make sure that it is stuck down nicely. And then all we need now is a hanger. So of course, you know me and my jute. I'm just going to pull some of that jute out. You could use a pretty ribbon here. You could use colored jute. You could use a different type of, maybe baker's twine would be pretty here if you like it. Whichever way you want to do it. But I think my inspiration piece was a jute string. So that's what I am using here for mine. I love the little vintage kids. I remember Valentine cards, and I remember getting them, and the little retro look. Really cute. Very nostalgic. So there's my little cuties. Theirs was $34.24 and mine was free. I've got these little tags that I thrifted that say love, and they're wood. We're going to, of course, need paint brushes because you know we got to paint something. I'm going to use this beautiful champagne gold paint. This beautiful little card. I know I said beautiful too much, don't I? Beautiful little card that is part of a banner that I got from TEMU. Not sponsored, not sponsored. I'm going to choose a couple of blue ribbons that I think might work. And then I have some random, some of these are thrifted, some of these are purchased, and these are just some florals that match what's going on in that beautiful card. Okay, beautiful. I've said it 3 times and we're not even 1 minute to the video. Yes. Lovely roses that I got from TEMU. The quality is wonderful in these. Look at that. And then this I got on clearance somewhere. I think at Joann. Yeah. And you can pull all these individual pieces out of here or cut them off. And then another one of these wreaths. Now I did one at Christmas with the same type of greenery that I changed the color up a little bit. I have several more of these left, so you will be seeing these wreaths again. Just giving you an idea of the measurements, 8 and 16. And then we've got the fluff, of course. Everything needs to be fluffed. These were stacked on top of one another and kind of mushed down. We're going to take these beautiful little, there's another one. We're going to take these love letters and we are going to paint those gold. Now I gave 3 coats of this because I wanted it to be very noticeable. I could have stained these first, maybe done a dark brown and then did the gold over the top. But as I was building up the color, I just kind of watched to get it at the look that I wanted. So 3 coats was enough for me. And you could still see the wood grain a bit underneath, but you know, that's pretty and I love rustic, so it works for me. We're going to do all those and let them dry. And while they're drying, we're going to address the little card here. And I've got a scrap piece of paper underneath. This is cardstock. And then another piece of, I think this is this came from a paper pack, the blue with the words on it underneath. Don't even know what the words say, but I like the color and I think it matches well. So I'll use my double stick tape. You can use whatever adhesive you would like to put this card down on top of the sort of an old gold colored cardstock. But it really matches well with the aged look. So I think this was a good choice. Of course, use whatever you like. If you don't have a banner from TEMU, what can you do? Well, you can go get a card that you like at Dollar Tree or at another store. Or perhaps you've been sent a card in the past and you've been hanging on to it. What a great way to get that card back out that you love so much. Give it a little more attention. Give it new life. So if you have a corner rounder and you have a round picture, all you have to do is clamp it and kind of snap the edges. I don't have a corner rounder anymore. I did back in my scrapbook days, but I donated most of that stuff. So I don't have one. So I'm just going to go with it, just looking at it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to offset it with the blue in the background and look at the difference. I love it. Now, of course, I'm going to be cutting off all of these. They're kind of leggy, I guess you could say, and I need these to be in shorter, more manageable pieces to use in a wreath. And actually, I left these a bit too long. I do cut these in half, each one of these. So what if you have a flower that's kind of crumpled? Well, you can add a little heat to it, turn it upside down, and essentially steam or iron it out. Don't get it too close to your greenery because, you know, some things are plastic and they'll melt. But look at that. We woke that flower right back up. Now, I started off cutting these because I thought they needed to be cut, but I was reminded in my head that most of these are put together by just wrapping that brown papery looking stuff over them, and you can just simply pull them out. Do what you need to do to get yours apart. Now, I am not going to have this right in the center. I want it off to the side, so I'm just going to put my little pipe cleaners on one side. I'm using green because it's going to blend in a little better with the greenery on the wreath. And I'll just cut one in half and we'll make some little little hanger pieces to attach the paper down to the wreath. If you want to attach yours straight down on your wreath, you can certainly do that. Feel free to make it your own. That's what this channel is all about. But in my experience, putting hot glue on something thin and plastic, like the greenery that happens to be on this wreath, it's not silk, it's like a plastic sort of situation. It'll just melt that and it'll come off anyway. So doing it this way, I can attach down to the wreath form that is underneath the brown part, and it'll stay right where it needs to be. Now that this is dry, I want to put these pieces together. See how you can still see the wood grain underneath, but it kind of has that shimmer in the light. Really pretty. And I like the idea of stacking these one on top of the other, almost graduated. And so I'm just going to use jute because it blends in. It doesn't, you know, get a lot of attention, and I want the attention to be on the word. So I'm just going to tie this in 2 knots where I connect each piece and then cut off that little section right there that we don't need. Y'all, somehow in the process of cleaning and rearranging in my studio, and I mean it is a huge difference down there, thanks to my daughter who has been doing a lot of work down there, I have lost 2 pairs of scissors. I mean 2 scissors, and they're the ones that are the smaller ones that I can use to actually do small things. Can't find them. Want to say thank you really quickly also to the members of this channel who have made it possible for me to buy the microphone that I'm using today. It is new. I just installed it last night, so hopefully we have a good crisp sound. I would love to know your opinion in the comments below if it sounds better to you today. All right, so we've got the next one ready. We're going to keep going along here. And I just showed you a moment ago how you can fix the end if your string or whatever you're using starts to fray. A little hot glue, you can fix that. All right, so to hang it off of the wreath, because again, we're not hot gluing, we're going to hang it. I just chose to use another piece of this jute to just tie off both ends. And then that's what we'll use to attach it to the wreath. And then since we put double knots in between each one, I'm going to continue with that same look by just putting a double knot here. And now I think that is precious. We're just going to set it aside and we can put down our sweet little Cupid or angel, however you want to look at it, but it's a Cupid to me. Sending love. See how he's sitting on those little hearts? Oh, it's so cute. He's precious. Now I'm going to attach it to the wreath form underneath, which is that brown part, the original circle before the greenery. And I'm not going to pull it too tight because it'll sink down in and squish our greenery, and I don't want that to happen. So now I'm going to find placement, and it almost looks like the little Cupid's looking down at the love sign, right? I think that is adorable. So I'm just going to go behind him. Same thing. I'm going to kind of attach it, try to get it attached to a solid piece down there. And I'll just tie it in a double knot. Same thing over here. And I'm not too concerned. You're going to make a gap sometimes in your greenery when you're tying it on, but you can always refluff it. That's such a simple thing. Y'all, I encourage you not to give up on your work when you get started and you hit a bump. I mean, there are happy accidents, and you just go with it. You just go with it. I've got another boo-boo in here that you're going to see close to the end of the video, and I'm going to show you how I rolled with it. I didn't even cut it out. Just rolled with it. All right, now to keep everything locked in place, I just added a little dot of glue, and I still managed to knock it loose, so I'll fix it again later. Okay? Now, we always use clamps when we don't have enough fingers or hands to hold something, so we're going to keep going. I've torn these pieces apart, and since this wreath has that look of all the greenery going in one direction, I'm going to continue that same look with these little wispy pieces. And I chose these, one, because they're very pretty. It's the only pick I could find when they were on clearance at Joann. And it kind of reminds me of what's going on in the feathers on the back of the Cupid. So I thought it fit in very well with this project. You know, you don't have to use as much stuff as I do. I'm always going to just put a whole bunch in there. I like to show you step by step, and then, you know, just tell you too that you can stop at any point that you want to stop on your projects. Just because I do a lot and have a lot going on, that's just my preference. But I encourage you to do as much or as little as you like. These videos are for inspiration, and I just want to show you what you can do, right? Always make it your own. Okay, so now I'm going to take these peach colored roses, and I'm going to turn the greenery to make sure that for the most part we're looking at the front of the greenery and not the plastic backing. Sometimes there's really not much you can do short of just gluing it down, but I'm just going to kind of go with it and move as much forward and toward the front as I can, because I like that dark green color and I like the print. These are just very well done. So I want the best part of them to be forward, right? Just like when we're dressing ourselves and we're getting ready to go out and do something, we want to put our best foot forward. So that's what I'm doing here, of course, on my crafts. Now, I love these all together. They almost look like a bunch of roses. Rather than cutting them apart and separating them, we're going to leave them all together. That's a little bouquet, right? Then I'm going to take these pieces, and I'm just going to place them here and there. And then they're so big, there's enough underneath for me to take those pieces that are underneath and pluck them off and use them in another place. And you'll see me do that shortly. I'm going to add these beautiful blue flowers. And then I've got some more blue over there that I grabbed up that's really small that I found later. And we're going to add those in there shortly. I went ahead and added the greenery that we had from the blue flowers in there as well. And you can move things around. See, these are not glued down, so that makes it convenient. It gives it a little more options for you. See? A little more option. And by the way, if you're wondering why the longer pieces why you see me just poking them in there, they're going into the wreath form that is underneath. So for the new folks and the new crafters, they're going into the wreath form under there. You can actually fit the wires down in there. So that's where they're going. And then for the pieces that are on plastic or look like they are shorter and can't be fed through there, I'll add a little hot glue and glue them in like the one I just did. Now I'm taking these little beautiful flyaway pieces of, we're going to call these wildflowers, and I'm going to just tuck them in here, there, continuing along with the beautiful blue that we already have going on in the project. And then underneath the edge, we're just going to carry this down and add some more of these little blue pieces here in front of the love and at the corner of the print, and leaving enough space in the middle that I can build up some of those yellow pieces. And I can just add as many or as few as I want to over here until I get the look that I like. Now that's much better. I like that. Now I'm just going to kind of weave them in and out. I'm going to kind of glue some things in place because for whatever reason, the glue did not play well with the paint that I used. So, you know, it would have worked with chalk paint. Now let's move on to the bow. I decided to use the sheer. So I've got the sheer bow, the ribbon, and I've got it's over 2 feet of ribbon for sure. And I'm just going to make a very simple bow in my hand. You can see how I did that. You can go back and rewind and slow it down if you would like to. Then I'm going to tie it off with a little bit of jute because the jute is what I have available. So that's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to take another piece that is about 4 inches longer than that one. I'm going to make the exact same bow, only it's going to be a little bit bigger. This ribbon holds a bow beautifully. It is wired. You're going to want to use wired for this. Then I'm just going to pull it down. And of course we need to finish our ends. We don't want any raggedy frayed ends. So I'm just cutting them at a slant. You can do a dovetail or, you know, whatever you like here. I'm going to take another piece I think I took what was left on the spool, I do believe. And I'm just going to fold it in half. So this looks like about 18, maybe 24 inches. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to fold it over. And then we're going to use this strip to go right in the middle. It's going to cover the jute and it is going to firmly attach it to the brown part of the wreath underneath. So I'm just tucking it in there, pushing it through with my fingers. And once I get it back there, I'll pull it up and then I'll tie it in a double knot. And then you can cut off any excess you might have in the back, or you can just leave it there. I'm going to fluff the bow because, you know, you got to fluff those bows. And then try to give a little personality to the ribbon. You decide, do you want it to flip up? Do you want it to flip down? Do you want to just have it swag down, or do you want to make a curl in it? There's so many options with bows. But, you know, do it your way and the way that you like it. And this is the final result, which you will get a better look at the very end of the video. We're going to use two types of Mod Podge. One of these is a gold glitter Mod Podge, and this one is a dishwasher proof Mod Podge. I have a brush that I got with my Mod Podge, of course. And then these are two plates that I have thrifted. One of them is from Hobby Lobby, and the other one, I don't know where that one was from. This came from a TEMU paper pack, and it's like a scrapbook paper pack. And I've got lots of pretty options. This is another piece from that banner. Put your spectacles on, right? And then I'm going to cut this out, especially since I can't find my small scissors. I don't know. I don't know. If my daughter's watching this video, where are my scissors, girl? Where are my scissors? I do have a little crafter in my house too, and she also likes to use my things. So I may have to look over there on her table and see if she took my small scissors. All right, so I'm just going to cut out the little boy here with his Valentines, and I am going to put him on top of this scrap cardboard. It came out of some things that I had ordered to improve my channel this year. So I saved those pieces. I love to use those as backing and just for anything. You can just use them for anything. With hot glue, you need to be sure that you work quickly to press that out so you get no lumps or ridges underneath. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want him to have a little more weight and structure. I want it to be where it's not bendable and it's a little easier to work with. I'm going to use my finger sander and I'm going to go over the entire thing. This is going to get any little roughness, or it's going to smooth the edges, I guess is an easy way to say it. It's going to smooth the edges, and it will go through paper. After I have done that, I'm going to get my finger dauber and I'm going to get a little bit of wax, and see there's a little scrap of that cardboard. Just going to dot it off, and I'm going to go around the edges. Now you can see that the edges are kind of white when you first sand them. You can go back over them with a little bit of darkening. See there the difference? This is going to make it really stand out so much better. It's going to give a defined edge and really make it pop. So I like doing this, and you're going to see this a lot in this video. I'm going to show you how to age things. Give you a lot of options in the video. Okay? You can always take a marker if you don't have, you know, some aging wax of some sort. You can always do the edges with a marker, but you're not going to get that look of shading around the edges without this wax, or with some, maybe some brown paint that you water down. Wax is just such a good, it's just, I encourage you, if you're going to be cheap on everything else or frugal, please spend the money and get you some antiquing wax, especially if you watch my channel, because I use it all the time. Okay, so we're going to let that little boy dry. I'm going to take advantage of the little holes in the sides of these plates, and I'm going to use this ribbon that I have, and this is thrifted ribbon, or possibly was given to me. Now see, sometimes I can't remember correctly, because I have had several ladies give me large amounts of ribbons and crafting supplies. That's where the wreath came from, the wreath form, several of those. I've got a lot of things from other folks, so this may have come from one of them. But I'm just weaving that in and out, using a stick to help me go down in the holes if you're not able to get your fingers in there. If it flips over, just flip it back, look at the back of it, make sure everything is, you know, good. Then I'm just going to make a very simple bow right here. If you don't have the dexterity and you have pain or vision problems, leave that string longer, make your bow, and then trim it off. Well, you got a little more room to work, right? I'm just slanting the little tails just a little bit, not anything major, just a little slant here, and I'm going to try to push that out of the way while we work on this little heart going in the middle. It is bigger than the inside circle, so we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to put it down with these little pop-up squares. You can get something similar to this at Dollar Tree. We're going to peel the little backs off, and then I'm going to try to center it underneath the bow, and then press right over where those foam squares are to hold it in place. He is a cutie pie. We don't very often get to see little boys, so I really wanted to kind of feature them, you know, give them a little space today. If you want to hang this on the wall rather than sitting on a plate stand, you can just take a piece of wire, and I've cut a little piece here. I'm going to go in and out in the same space below where that bow is. You won't even be able to see it in the front. The ribbon will go right down over it. Then I'm going to cross my 2 pieces over, twist them around. You can trim them off. And then just keep them low down to the plate where it's not very noticeable. And you'll be able to use that on your wall. What I'm going to do, in case you're worried about scratches on the wall, is pull that back through so that it goes under the ribbon on the front and the smooth side is on the back. You could also use maybe some command hooks on the inside of your secretary or anything that you might have that you put your decor on. Maybe you showcase your decor on, and you could use a little command hook on the back and then hang this right off the wall of your little shelving or your cabinetry. All right, for the second one in this set, we are going to use the bigger plate. I'm just going to use this as a template. You see it fits perfectly down in there, and I'll use it to go on my piece of paper. I'm going to take a pencil and lightly go around on the white side of the paper because I can see it and I don't have to worry about it showing if I go over the print. And I'm just going to cut right over the line. Oh, that's so pretty. I love the look of this. Crafting magic, y'all. All right, we're going to put some of that dishwasher Mod Podge on here. Now, the dishwasher safe Mod Podge is the option I chose for this, not because I intend to put it in the dishwasher, no, but because in my experience, it is very thick. It will cling to what you're using quickly, and you don't have to worry about any bubbling or lines underneath. That's just my experience, but you do what you need to do. So you could actually use regular Mod Podge. Just be sure that you squeegee it out really well. I'm trying to hold it so I don't get it sliding around because I put a good coat in there. And I'm just going to use a little silicone spatula. Y'all, if you do not have fancy tools, go get something from the kitchen section. Silicone is great. It's easy to clean up. It's flexible. It's wonderful. I'm just going to use a heat tool, and I'm going to go over here and give it a quick dry. But you can put yours aside and let it dry if you like. I'm going to put this down on another piece of the cardstock, or the cardboard rather, but this time I'm going to attach it down with that same Mod Podge because it was already in the brush. See, options, y'all. You have options. Put it down in here. I'm going to press it down. I'm just lining it up on the edges. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to just use my little spatula here and support it with my finger and just squeegee it all out from the inside to the outside, pressing it down into that glue. It does take a second or two to attach to the glue, but just, work with it. And then I'm adding a little heat to it to make it dry quicker. If you don't have this, you can use a blow dryer. If you don't, you can use a fan. You could always set it aside, walk away, take a coffee break, right? Or get some water. We need more water this year. I drink a lot of coffee. Now I'm going to cut each one of these out because they're like individual little pictures. And then I'll be choosing just a few of these. And then some I'll be putting aside for the next Valentine's video that I'm putting out. Then I'm going to darken and age these just like you saw me do before. All around the edges because you sand these off if you need to. If not, you still got your cut marks and you want your edges to blend. The white part of the paper and the brown part in the back will look the same or barely be noticeable if you do this. Now I'm going to bring that toward the inside just a little bit to just age around the edges, and you can clearly see the difference there. It's almost like you're putting a shadow around the edge. Kind of mimics what's going on in those cards we used. Okay, and this is how this one's going to look. Now, the plate is dry, so we get to start having a little bit of fun. I'm going to shake this Mod Podge up because it's glitter in there and it will get kind of clumpy. My preferred method is a sponge brush for this because you can pounce it on instead of using a brush, which will, in my experience, rub it right back off. So I'm just going to pounce this on all over my edges because I want this one to really have that beautiful shimmer or sparkle on it. Now, y'all, this is very fine glitter. This is not something that's over the top crazy. It's not. And once it dries, it's just very, it almost gives it like a gold leaf effect. But, you know, judge for yourself. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it on yours. Right? And I'm just going to go over the edges of the cards once they're dried and just give them a little bit of that gold too. You see just a little shimmer. It's really pretty. All right. And now I'm going to go on the inside and just give it a little bit. You're not going to really see a whole lot of what's going on under here because it's going to be covered. I've got 2 old ribbons or vintagey looking ribbons, one in a gold and one in a beautiful dusty pink, or I think in the 90s, what did we call that? A dusty rose. Beautiful, and it is sheer, so I'm going to use both of them, but there are 2 rows of little openings in this plate, so this is the perfect opportunity to use both, to use 2 ribbons. I'm going to pull a bunch out. I'm going to get a little stick here, and I don't know if this is a craft stick or a coffee stirrer stick. I don't know. I get so much from the thrift store that's not even in a package that I just scrape up off the bottom of the bin, and if it looks like I could use it for crafting, I'm going to bring it home. But the good news is I share a lot of stuff, if that helps. Okay, now, once we get back around, you can see we've got our 2 pieces here. I'm going to overlap one underneath the other one so they both come out the same spot. This is just to make it easier when we hang it. Now I'm going to start with the gold. And again, if your ribbon flips over, all you have to do is go to the back, use your little stick or whatever pokey tool you're using, and flip it back over. Easy. And I wouldn't stress about it anyway. It's still pretty. You're still getting a representation of that color, right? Not everybody has 20/20 vision. I'm straining to see my screen right now as we speak. Because I'm not wearing my glasses. They're in the car. And they should be on my face. But that's another story. Got to get back to the eye doctor. Y'all, we've got to take care of ourselves in 2024. I have let too many things fall by the wayside. I'm about to get myself back in shape. Who's with me? All right, so once you get back around, I'm just going to go ahead and tie this one in a knot. And then I'm going to tie this one in a bow. Easy bow. This is an easy little bow. But leave your strings longer if you need a little more to work with while you're doing your projects. So I'm wondering, does anybody use a magnifier when they're doing their crafting, like the kind that attaches to the table? I'm thinking about getting something like that. Let me know what you think, if you've ever worked with one, what your experience was. Okay, so now the fun part, we get to arrange these on the plate. I get to decide right where I want to put these. And it's really it's sort of like scrapbooking. You just see what works. And I love an offset look. I love the look of something having dimension on it. It's different. You don't see everybody do this. And that's what makes things special, right? And it creates that extra shadowing in the background. So before you know exactly where you want your pieces to be, kind of lay them out and get an idea of what you think you might like. Then you can press them back right where they're right where you would like for them to be. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so now I'm just gonna tack those down to the edges and then add a little glue underneath. It will stick well to the ribbon underneath, so that's what I'm aiming for. Oftentimes hot glue will pop right off of a shiny surface like that plate. I have a little card here, and I'm just gonna pop off the little extras and add them here and there because they have a little gold edging. You can do this with the with the 3D card. You know, you can do this. And think, you buy one pack of cards, one pack of thank you cards, and you get all the extras. Now, mine came from the thrift store, but, you know, think outside of the box. You could also cut up a card, or you could drop it like I always like to do. Or you could use stickers. There are puffy stickers and 3D stickers at Dollar Tree that are gorgeous that you could use. Look at this. I really like this. I really like it a lot. And I think the two of these plates together make a very nice look. Okay, so now you can hang it with your ribbon if you would like to. Or you could use a piece of wire. And this is just the edge off of a wired ribbon that I deconstructed. I'm going to make a loop in the end. I'm going to pull it so there's a little knot. And then I'll feed it through the same hole where the hanger is. You can just cut that little ribbon down, cut the little tails off like I did. And then you have a little gold hanger, and then you can hang it from the wall. Either way is good. So I pulled this off of a Christmas greenery piece that had all kinds of red and green and gold on it. Pulled it off because I knew that these beautiful dark roses were going to be perfect for Valentine's Day. Multi-purpose, y'all. Christmas stuff, some things can go right on over. I thrifted the little cherub. This came off of one of my candles. This is a piece of scrap foam. And this is a little candlestick that I have used before in another project. We're going to use a different shade of gold. This is Glorious Gold with a cup and a chippy brush. All right, right now I've got my little Lazy Susan. We're going to put it under there just to kind of help me out. It's going to keep my table clean and make it easier when I'm turning this. Okay, you see how much I just loaded into the brush and then wiped off? That's all I'm going to use for a great portion of this. It looks really heavy right now, but what you're seeing is me just putting the paint onto it. I'm not leaving it this look. This is going to be me brushing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all over this, underneath the lip, the edge, everywhere. Then I barely add any more paint to the upper section. Okay, now I'm going to add some paint onto this top. Does not have to be perfect. Most of this you are not going to see, but I'm going to color it gold. And be sure you go the edges also. And then I'm going to add some E6000 once that's dried, and some hot glue to the top of this candlestick. And then we will apply this right on top of that candle top. That hot glue is going to grab fast. It's going to hold it in place until that E6000 is dry. And look at that. It practically looks like it belongs there. All right, I'm going to use some of my mounting tape here. You can get this at Walmart. You can get it at Dollar Tree. It's alien tape, I think, at Walmart. I mean, not Dollar Tree. At TEMU is where I get mine. I found it fairly inexpensive there, so that's where I usually get mine. Then I'm going to go over it with some hot glue. Hot glue will eat away at your foam, so it needs to be something a little more permanent. Be sure that you really push it down into it, and then it is practically centered. We've got to find a way to stand this little cherub up. I'm going to add some hot glue on a pick that I have cut at a slant so it will fit right under the wings. I'm going to cut the stick down a little because I know I don't need all of that. Not quite sure the height yet, but I know I don't need all of it. I'm going to trim it down a little bit more. Yes. Oh, y'all, this is not for the faint of heart. I had to add a little glue right to his bum to hold it in place at the right angle. Okay, and that is Gorilla Glue. And the glue gone. All right, so now I'm going to find his placement, and I'm going to stand him up in that foam. Stand him in it, push his little toes into it. I'm going to go around this with a little bit of ribbon, because if you don't, you might be able to see through your greenery, and then you'll be able to see this white foam. You could start by simply using a green foam if you have that instead. This is my way of disguising it a bit, although most of my flowers do cover it. Now I've pinned it in rather than gluing it with a floral pin. And I'm going to take my roses, which I have put back together and added a little piece of scrap stem to, and I'm going to shove them through this meshy ribbon right in the front. Okay, and we're going to do 4 of these, so I'm trying to space these out evenly around the foam. Add 2 more, and then the last one here. Now we are going to be adding the single roses that don't have greenery, and we're going to add those in between and above where we added the ones with the greenery, which is in the foam at the top, right around that cute little cherub or cupid or angel baby or whatever you want to call him. And there will be 4 of those, so far we have 8 roses. Mine are thrifted, like I said, but feel free to pick some up at Dollar Tree or wherever you have them. Or perhaps you'd like to use a different flower. I just thought this is beautiful for Valentine's Day. I have 1 piece left that I'm going to cut in 3 sections, and I'll be using this to add here and there to pop out of our flowers so that it doesn't look so flat. I feel like doing these things makes a little more of a natural look. And see, now we can cover up the stick on the back. Then I'm going to turn him to each side to decide where we want the last piece to go. And then adding a little hot glue, we can place that in there. Now I want to add a bow to this. Now this is a little simple bow like we did before. So if you've mastered the other one, this is the exact same thing, but we're doing it with gold meshy ribbon. I'll flip it over and just tie it in the middle. And this is just a little scrap of ribbon. And I'm going to tie this around the candlestick in a place where it is seen, but close enough up top that you could actually give something like this as a gorgeous Valentine's gift. I know I'd love to have it. I surely would. I think handmade gifts are so sweet and so thoughtful because of the time and the effort that you put into it. You know, I love it. And I think in crafting, we show a little bit of our personality in the way we craft, and it just makes it special. But I know not everybody likes a handmade gift, but I sure do. All right, so I'm putting slants here. I know you can't see down there, but it's okay. And I'm also going to show you how you can kind of give it a little something extra by making little tails. So these are like faux tails. I'm going to cut like an 8-inch piece, and I'm going to cut a slant. This is just it doubled over, and I've cut it in a slant. I'm going to pinch it on the bottom. Pinch. I said pinch. My country's coming out. Country has come to town. Yeah. I'll make a couple of these and add, and you'll see it at the end. So of course we're going to use our antiquing wax and a chippy brush. Another one of those beautiful banner pieces. And then this is like a wallpaper strip. And this is a heart that somebody else already DIY'd. I believe you can get something like this at Dollar Tree that is completely plain and you don't have to worry about painting over or removing anything. I'm going to measure out on this wallpaper that is from TEMU. I'm going to measure out how much I need to cover it. And then I am going to just kind of trim off the rest of it because I like to get those things out of my way. I've removed most of the paper and I'm going to add this down. A lot of times you can see through these papers, so just be sure that you have a nice light background so you don't see a bunch of stuff underneath it, right? I'm going to start to peel up the backing. So you can see the print from the front through to the backing, so you know it's pretty thin. And I'm going to just take the heart and peel most of it off. I'm going to use, I think I put something on there to hold it. Yes, I did. Put a coaster on there. Just to give me an extra hand. See how I kind of walk my fingers off? And then I'll push this right where they connect. Drop it down, press it into place. It stayed nice and flat, thankfully. I'm just going to press it down a little bit and I'm going to cut off the excess. This does not have to be really neat. It doesn't have to be a very close cut because we are going to be sanding off the excess. It works well. Press it down with your hand, use a squeegee, use a credit card, use a spatula, something to get this flat where there are no bubbles and wrinkles in it. All right. Love the vintagey look of this. Already love it, but it's a little too, the color is not exactly how I like it, so I'm going to change that. But you see how easy this shears off? Just going down and away from it. You can pull that right off. Perfect. See the difference it makes from here to this side? Very defined. Now, I want to darken this up, of course, because I've got to give it more dimension. I don't want anything looking flat. I want it to look like it's truly something old. So I'm going to go around it with just a baby wipe, a damp baby wipe. This is going to make it easier for me to move it, and it will also give me a little extra time to play around with this wax before it sets up. So I'm going to go around all the way around the edges, all the way. I'm getting the very edge of the heart, plus I'm getting about an inch, maybe an inch and a half toward the inside of it. As it starts to dry, I'll kind of blend inward. So I'm going inward in circular motions to get the color the way I like it. Now, when you're doing this with a baby wipe, if you get it too dark, you can quickly wipe it back off, right? I like the color of this. I think it looks good. See the difference? Yes. Now because it's still damp, I'm just taking a chippy brush, a large one, and I'm just going to kind of play with that to give it almost a little bit of shaping. If you curve the brush, it puts the wax almost like, it's kind of hard for me to explain, y'all. Just take my word for it. But you can skip that step if you would like. Now I'm going to cut her out. I'm not going to leave the shading on her because we're doing something a little different. But she has a little foot down there. We want to make sure I don't cut her foot off. And I'm going to put her on that same piece of scrap cardboard we had. You see how convenient it is to have these scraps because we didn't have to buy it. And I've used it in several projects. Little hot glue. I'm going to get her placed down on here so that I can get it cut out. I'm going to do the same thing with the heart. And then I will cut around here. Preferably with some detailing scissors. But, you know. Then I'm going to take my finger sander and go all the way around. This is going to make the edges nice and smooth and make this look like one piece rather than a piece glued down to something else, right? You can also cut apart a cereal box and use that if you would like to give it a little bit of extra weight. You certainly can. Now the same thing here. We're going to go all around the edging. We're going to cover up all the white, and we're going to make this look a little more aged. And don't forget the inner parts like the neck and things like that. Then I'm going to dry it. I have a little piece that came off of a Dollar Tree thing here. I peeled off the front of it, and I'm just going to paint it white. And we're going to make a little dimensional heart. Once I've got it painted, I'm going to add on some wax. Y'all don't panic. It looks definitely worse before it gets better. Again, I'm using a baby wipe because it makes it easier for me to blend. Okay, blending. Blend it well. You can see how much blending I did on it. See the difference when the paper heart comes off? I think the paper hearts might have come from Dollar Tree one year. I'm not sure. Using a glue stick is by far the easiest way, but you got to be very gentle with this. The purple will disappear. It just shows me where I put the glue. And now I'm just going to pat that down on there and gently use my finger to make sure that it is attached down. Add a little heat to it to glue it in place. Now we want dimension here, so I'm going to just use a wood block on the back. You can use those building blocks from Dollar Tree if you want, and start playing around with how we want to position this. I want to add this little heart right to this one. This gives a lot of dimension in this heart. We got 3 layers in this heart, and I absolutely do love that. I'm going to take some little pieces of wood scraps that I have. They went to some type of a pop-up painting kit. I don't even know, but I keep these kind of things when I just keep them. I don't go overboard. I mean, it's not a crazy person's studio downstairs or anything. I have this stuff organized, okay? Believe it or not, it is organized. Organized chaos, still organized. I'm going to glue this right down on the back. And then I decided when I was doing this, you know what? This looks like a candy top, like a candy box top. So we're going to go with that and try to continue with that same look. Like this was a box of chocolates, right? Right? Couldn't this be so similar? So that's what we're going to make it. I'm just going to pull the wire right out of this wired ribbon, and I'm going to wrap it around. I pulled it out because it'll lay flatter, but you don't have to. You certainly don't have to. I'm going to do this at a slight slant. Why? Only because afterwards I realized it was not completely even. So we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. We're going to say I intended for it to be that way, right? Yes. Now we can decide where we want things to be. And since I know I want to add a little bow somewhere on here, we're going to position her down a little bit, leaving some space for a bow. Her little skirt's kind of wispy and hanging off a little bit off the side. I love that. I love the dimension of it. And then because I used smaller blocks here, there's another layer of dimension. It's a little shorter, but still you can see the shadow around it. Now, very soon you're going to see a mistake. And let's focus on the good part. I'm going to make a 2-loop bow, and all I'm going to do is just loop this over. This is all I have left, so I'm trying to take advantage of it. And I'm just looping it over on itself. So there'll be 2 loops on the left, 2 loops on the right, and 2 tails. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to cut through the wire. Just going to cut right through. It's going to bite through the wire and go right into the fabric. You don't want to go too far with this because your bows will fall apart. Same thing on this side. Some people call this an Olivia bow. Some people call this a notched bow. I do not know the original creator. There are a lot of opinions about that. We don't need to go into that here, do we? We don't. Now I'm going to put a piece of ribbon right in there. You can use a string for this. You don't have to use ribbon, or you can use a zip tie, whatever you prefer. I'm just working with what I have, what's on the table. It's kind of a long video, so I wanted to be sure that I give you all the details, but give you all the goodness, right? You need the goodness. You need the inspiration. People have been asking me, where's my Valentines? Where's the Valentines? Where's the Valentines? I'm bringing it to you, y'all. I'm bringing it. And more than one. How about that? That's right. All right, so now I'm going to pull these apart. I'm going to pull these layers apart and, oh, bam. Pull the edge right off the ribbon. This is old ribbon, so I should have known to be a little more gentle, but I wasn't. But I'm thinking, okay, now what? Now what? This is the only piece I have left. So then I was like, you know what? Let's just pull all of those off. Let's just pull them off. And then it occurred to me, you know, you cut through the side, they can come completely out. Just pull every one of them out, and I did. Even off the tail part, I just pulled them off, went with it. And it still looks pretty. And it's still a stiff enough ribbon that it's going to hold the shape of the bow. Happy little accidents. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Now I'm going to cut my tails, just going to dovetail these pieces. You won't necessarily see these. It depends on the type of ribbon you're using. Sometimes you can see the tails on my bows and sometimes you can't. But just to be on the safe side, I want to do it now rather than trying to do it after it is glued in place. All right, so now this is going to be the back of the bow. I'm going to take that one last piece of scrap that I had there, and I am going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to dovetail it. So now we have this little thingy, this little piece, and we're going to work with it. I'm going to add some hot glue on the back of the bow, and I'm going to squinchy this up in the middle, press it down in there, and then a little bit of that will show when you put the bow in place on the top and the bottom, and they look like little faux tails. Oh yes, this was definitely a happy accident. I'm going to add some hot glue here and press it into place right up toward that top. Oh yes. And now we're going to add some beautiful greenery on there. Yes, I said greenery, and I said beautiful again. I did. I'm going to glue this in place. This was just a scrap off of some other those little roses that I have there. I made sure when I chose those roses that they were in the same orangey red tone instead of a pinkish color, because this is definitely more of a different tone. And I'm going to put this down right on there. You could use a jewel, you could use a button, you could use anything you like in this spot. So far, so good. I'm liking it. You could definitely stop here if that's something that you would like to do. But I decided I wanted to add a little bit of gold to it. You don't have to do this, y'all. I know I be doing too much sometimes, as the kids say. As the young folks say, I be doing too much. But I'm just going to add some of this on here and then I'm going to blend it out. I'm not going to leave those sharp edges. I'm going to pull all of that toward the center. That's just going to kind of concentrate the majority of the gold to the outside when it starts to get sticky and dry just a bit. But then I'm going to also go over her little shoe. We're going to make her a little patent slipper that she's wearing, and we're going to do some black on the band around her hat. Just a little something extra, y'all, you know, just that extra flair. I felt like coloring that day, apparently. Look how relaxed I looked. Just chilling out on the table there. Just going to trace that up. Very easy to do. And as I put the glue down, I'm kind of rubbing the tip of it in there. Be sure, by the way, if you're using a bottle paint like this, that you burp it first, like I did over there on the top of that used spool. Once I've gotten it blended out with my brush, I'm going to dry it, and we're going to make a hanger. And I'm just using a scrap piece of ribbon with a little glue in the middle, and I'm going to add it right in the top middle. I like that it has gold in it. And it also has kind of that brownish tone. And that's that. We've got some reds and some pinks. You see that little red bubble? If you would click that, you can subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. I want you to believe in yourself because I believe in you. Whether you're a new crafter or somebody who's been doing it forever or somebody who took time to be off and now you're back at it. Feel inspired. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to my members, my viewers, and all of my subscribers for everything that you do that makes my channel possible. All of the support you give, the comments you leave, the shares, the likes, they matter, they mean something, you mean something, and you matter to me. I hope you enjoyed these and found some inspiration, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!